Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé. Before the 90 days, let's watch.
So yes, you are very important to me, but now it's not good timing because COVID. So like my decision, postpone it to February.
It's always good when we get a bit of a timeline. Given that she's in Idaho and she's outside, I'm pretty sure in that region it gets pretty cold in the winter. So I'm going to take a guess and say it's like summer-ish or maybe fall, right? So he's talking about February, and he's saying, look, things should be better in February. Turned out it wasn't because of Omicron. But anyway, so he's saying, well, to catch you up, that she really wants to marry him. They haven't met in person. I always forget if they've met in person, but I'm pretty sure they have not. Either way, they're in the beginning of their in-person relationship, and she wants to see him so that she can progress in their relationship. Makes total sense. They've been essentially dating over video chat and video conference for a number of months. She's talked about how she has had a really hard time finding love in her life, and this is her chance, she believes. Okay, makes sense. She really is motivated. And she wants him to come to Idaho, and he is saying, well, because of COVID, I don't think that's a good idea, which most scientists and most people around the world, outside of particular echo chambers in the United States, and I guess echo chambers in other countries, would agree that that would be okay. Now, some people did travel during this time, but for him, he's just like, I don't know, that's a big risk to myself, to you, to your family, to my family, and plus maybe even his government is restricting certain things. Anyway, point is that he wants to wait, which I think would make total sense. There are a lot of people that would agree with him 100%. And she says, well, okay, fine. Well, you were going to fly to Dubai and then to Idaho. So how about I meet you in Dubai? I think she confuses like, well, it's the United States that he's scared of, which I don't think is true. I think he's legitimately concerned about the exposure of going to different airports and being in different taxi cabs or public transport or whatever. And so he's concerned. I'm guessing he's also concerned for her. So she's saying, I'll meet you in Dubai. He was also talking about how he would have to quarantine for 5 weeks on either side of the Dubai trip, which would mean he wouldn't be able to work, I don't think, and he wouldn't be able to see his kid or his family for 5 weeks, which is a huge parenting issue. Whereas if you wait until the COVID goes away or the risk goes away, then I don't have to quarantine and I could just come out to Idaho for 2 weeks and go home, and I'd only be away from my kid for 2 weeks instead of 3 months. And so it's a very rational perspective. She is desperate. She's I think mistaking his normal science-based hesitation for he doesn't really love me. And she's quite adamant about that. I think that's some past coming into the present there. And so she's like, okay, well, last time we heard from her, she's like, if you don't go to Dubai, then I'm going to have to think about, I think she said opening the relationship or at the very least breaking up. And that I understood, that it's okay. She could look at him and say like, look, I get the concern, but if I don't see you soon, I just can't wait another year or more just to find out if this is going to work out, because I've got one life to live. I want to start dating other people, and what I was thinking was maybe it'd be best for everyone to do that, because even if you do meet in person, like what's the chance that things are going to work out? I wouldn't give it a very high chance, not because there's something wrong with the two of them, but just because we see a lot on this show that it's not very frequent that it works out once you actually meet in person. Anyway, so that's where we're at. Now she's calling, and now he's saying, no, I don't want to go to Dubai because of the concerns. Let's see how she reacts.
So you were wanting me to wait 7 months until February?
Yeah.
Okay, even better. So 7 months. So it's like summer, fall time, August, September-ish. And so 7 months. It's not a big deal, you know? Now, you'd probably have to wait beyond Omicron, but which would be, I guess, 8 or 9 months. But yeah, he's like, yeah, just give it a little bit more time. It'll be way more convenient, a lot less risky for everyone involved. Is it worth? Now, he could do, if he was really into it, which I think he is, he could do a little better and just say like, honey, please, I love you so much. Please don't say no to this. Please, 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 please. I really do want to see you, but I'm so scared. I know you don't share those concerns, but for me and my people, it makes sense to us, and we're not the irrational ones. And let's not get into a debate. And honestly, this was a fight that a lot of people went through around vaccines or COVID risk or politics. It really, in my country, divided a lot of people and a lot of families, all because politicians were poisoning the well when it came to the perspective. It's like, just follow the medical advice. How about that? Or consider it at the very least. And, some people might be like, well, it's worth the risk to me. Other people are like, it's not worth the risk to me. Okay. But the point is that he could do a little better of inspiring her to believe that he does really love her, but he considers the risk to be a big deal. He doesn't really do that. Now, he shouldn't have to do that really, but it would have helped if he would have. But let's see what she says.
Ella told me she wanna fly to Dubai to meet me, but I still choosing not to go because it's a long time to be quarantined. I just hope she doesn't think I have less love than her because of my cautious.
Once again, in the one-on-one interviews, a lot more differentiation and honesty and vulnerability, but we don't see it when they're talking. It's like, okay, Johnny, say that in the moment because it makes sense. It's like, even just saying that sentence, I really hope that you don't think by me being cautious means I don't love you, because that's not the case. But he didn't say that. He's just like, I'm not coming because it's too risky.
Well, it seems pretty clear that you've made up your mind that you don't want to come.
Just wait. I'm gonna be there in the February. Have a little faith on me if the conditions, the status will getting better. That's my thinking.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Again, I think she's gone down a road of despair that he's not helping with. I get where he's coming from, but if he wants to retain the relationship, he should really express what he was saying in the one-on-one interview.
I don't want to have to keep waiting, because what if you never come and I've wasted all that time doing nothing and am still single by like 37? I don't think that you understand how hard this has been on me. That
shows that she has some kind of a desperation around age, which if I were there, I'd be like, there are a lot of people who are single at 37. So if this relationship is worth it to you, which maybe it isn't, then, it wouldn't be unusual to give it a try and wait another 7 months to February.
Keep waiting, because what if you never come and I've wasted all that time doing nothing and am still single by like 37? I don't think that you understand how hard this has been on me.
Right, so I don't think you understand how hard this has been on me. Okay, that's an okay bid for understanding and empathy, to just say like, this has been really hard on me because I miss you, I want to be with you, and I'm also unsure if you really love me or not. Okay, that's great. She's opening the door. If he wants to retain the relationship, it'd be important that he try to at least detect that and attend to it, because I think she's open to it, I think.
I need attention. I need physical attention. And when you have been going back and forth with this, I called over a friend and talked with him and cuddled with him. And we ended up having sex.
Yikes. So she cheated on him. Okay. Well, that's a surefire way to end a relationship. Well, I guess we'll see what Johnny says. Maybe they had a bit of an understanding there. She talked about an open relationship. He did say no, but did they talk about it? I don't know. Maybe we will hear some more information. But sounds like she cheated. And she started off by saying, I need physical attention. I need attention. I need physical attention. Yeah, okay. Makes total sense. And then she says, so I got together with... Now, maybe she'll say, I'm terribly sorry. I have massive amounts of remorse. It was wrong of me to do that. I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe she'll apologize. Or she'll have a different attitude. Let's see what attitude she has.
I didn't mean for that to happen. It just happened because I was so distraught and so upset.
I didn't mean for it to happen. I was so distraught. Okay. If you're ever apologizing for something like this, I recommend not saying something like that. It implies that you just accidentally, like, you spilled milk on accident. It's like, oops, I didn't mean for that to happen. Yeah, you didn't mean for that. Having sex with someone, I mean, unless it's an assaultive, coercive situation, you wanted it to happen and did probably, if you just looked at micro behaviors, thousands of decisions that led to you having sex with someone. So, I don't know how it happened. It was totally accident. It just, all of a sudden it was happening. It's like, no, I mean, unless it was an assault or you were roofied or something, you made literally thousands of choices to go down that road, and then thousands of choices to not pull back, to do a 180. So, but anyway, maybe she's just saying, look, I didn't really set out to do this. Maybe that's remorse. Let's see what else she says.
After Johnny was being wishy-washy with meeting me in Dubai, I was feeling really upset. So I invited one of my close friends over to help support me and talk about this Johnny situation. And we ended up having sex with each other.
This is the interesting phrasing. We had sex with each other. We ended up having sex. I don't know. Why is that a weird phrase to me? Anyway, so we just ended up, all right. Where's the remorse? Where's the apology? Now, well, even if she's breaking up with them, she should apologize. I mean, that's a massive violation. Unless they had an agreement, which maybe they had.
I think a little bit that my self-worth is tied up in male physical attention because of my insecurities. And
okay, tell him that. So that's part of that explanation. Doesn't excuse it, but it's an explanation that I'm always wanting people to express on the show, in my office, to say, I cheated on you because I have massive insecurities and I equate male attention, sexual attraction, as indication that I'm worth it. And I felt extremely worthless because I didn't know if you loved me or not. And it's not your fault, it's my fault, it's my insecurities. And I had a day of weakness, and I was, I'm not well. I was extremely desperate, and I cheated on you because I just wanted some indication that I mattered in the world. And looking back, I realized that was completely not okay. To have that's a very common reason why people cheat. In fact, a lot of times in culture and on the show, the way that people frame cheaters are just like, they're players, they're narcissists, they're out to get you. I have almost never seen someone cheat personally or professionally who was doing it for those reasons. It's almost always coming from a place of suffering. Cheating almost always comes from a place of insecurity, a place of trauma, a place of all that stuff. So she's talking about that, which is good. That's a huge step in the right direction, way beyond what other people will do on this show. And maybe she can tell him that and say that she is deeply sorry.
so the fact that I've been alone a year and a half, it's been hard. But it was very, very, very wrong.
Okay, good. She's like, it was hard. I was alone. I have this insecurity problem. I have this tendency to do this thing when I'm insecure. But it was very, very, very wrong. Yeah, great. This is great. I mean, it's terrible, but it's a good example. You hear me talking about these kinds of things, that people make mistakes, and at the very least, you would hope that people would have this reaction. It was very, very wrong. Here's why. I have an issue, with Ed, with Jesse, with Colt, with all of them. If they could do what Ella, I'm getting mixed up with Ellie it's Ella, yeah. That if they all could do what Ella is doing, at least there would be some satisfaction on the other side of like, oh, well, I'm still done with you, but thanks for saying it was very wrong and for at least taking the time to investigate why you would do such a thing.
It's very hard to hear this. I do not want to know that.
I still love you. Are you mad at me?
In the one-on-one interviews, she is doing a lot of the good things that I'm proposing or recommending people do, not for the other person's sake entirely, but also for their own sake. When you make a mistake, you should be able to explore why you did that so you can grow. She hasn't done any of that, at least on camera and the edit in front of him. In fact, she's very cold. Are you mad at me? Probably. Let's see what he says.
Ella told me she have sex with another guy. It's really a shock. It's really painful and it's very sad. But I can understand her feeling because I must just keep her waiting for such a long time.
Okay. This makes me wonder if they had talked a bit about open relationship stuff. I don't know. But he is saying, I understand, it's a shock and it's really hurtful and painful, but, I can kind of see where she's coming from because this is a pretty terrible situation and I feel bad that I've been not coming out there. So if she needed someone to make her feel better temporarily, it's not the best, but, I forgive her. Yeah, that'd be fine.
Fix our relationship, okay?
I just don't know where we should stand right now.
Okay.
I know you don't like when I get emotional, but I need you to see how much I am upset with you not being able to come now.
Yeah, okay. And where were the tears towards him about cheating on him? In the one-on-one interviews, she expressed it. In the phone conversation, she didn't, or they edited it out, or I don't know what. But it's an interesting juxtaposition of, okay, you're not going to come? Well, I have something to tell you. I had sex with another man, and I also need you to recognize how much pain I'm in. It's like, huh?
Typhoon or tornado, I'm gonna go there.
But do you understand why I don't trust that?
Let me do this. You give me your finger size. I wanna buy you a diamond ring. What do you think about that?
I mean, on a certain level, it's heartbreaking that if we just take the story for what it's saying, these two people really love each other and they want to be together. And Ella has some relational traumas that make her extremely vulnerable and sad and desperation. And because of a disease, a pandemic that, just randomly popped up in the population and spread around the world, they can't see each other in a safe way. And they're both suffering. You just wonder, if there wasn't a pandemic or if they lived in the same town or something, if everything would have been fine, right?
It'd still be better if you were here.
Absolutely, I'm gonna be there in February. That's my words.
Okay.
I don't know if you can promise that. I'm pretty sure. I mean, if China was strict during Delta, I'm pretty sure they were pretty strict during Omicron as well in February, but I don't know.
All right, well, I will talk to you later then, okay?
Okay, just try to getting your mood better. Okay?
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, baby.
This sucks.
Yeah, so when people are cheating, it often comes from this. We don't get the perception that with Ella, she's like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna have my cake and eat it too, yay. we get the clear impression that she is in a tremendous amount of pain. It does not justify the cheating. It does not justify the lying and the harm that she did to Johnny. Johnny seems to be rolling with the punches, which is, some people are. Some people are like, well, what are you going to do? Not great, but it's not a deal breaker for me. And, some people are like that. But I really want people to make this connection that we see her, she is not doing okay. I think you can clearly tell that she's in a lot of pain. She's been in a lot of pain. She has a lot of desperation. And that's where the cheating emerged from. Some semblance of, I just need some evidence that I'm lovable, that people like me, that they're attracted to me. I will do anything. I will sacrifice my long-term relationship just to have one morsel of someone telling me that I am good enough. And so that's what cheating often comes from. It's what it often comes from. It can come from other places, by the way. It's also a passive-aggressive move, which also comes from a lot of relational traumas of the inability to express. Some people express anger. They cannot express their anger. In fact, if you are ever with someone and they have never been angry with you, that is actually a red flag. I know usually it's the opposite, right? No, anger is good. Anger is an indication that, hey, my rights are being violated, or someone's treating me unfairly, or someone's not listening to me. Anger is normal. Anger is good. And when anger tells us, hey, I'm being mistreated here, even if it's just small. And so I'm going to get angry, and I'm not going to be violent, but I'm going to be assertive and be like, hey, knock it off. Okay. If someone never does that, it probably means when they were young, they weren't allowed to. And so their anger is coming out in other ways, because everyone has anger. Everybody. Even the most mellow of individuals has anger. In fact, the super non-angry people that are super mellow, they have more anger than anyone else because they aren't allowed to express it. Well, the anger has to come out. And one of the ways that it can come out is through cheating.
Made him hurt, even though he didn't say it. I could see it on his face that he's really upset. They really hurt me. Like, I feel really bad now.
Okay, tell him. I mean, I presume that she has. This is just one conversation. I think they talk all the time, so I'm going to assume that she has said, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. But the other thing here is that, the demeanor that she has is one of a younger person, right? Like, if you just heard this and you didn't know how old she was, you would think you were talking to someone a lot younger. I'm not insulting her, I'm not saying there's something wrong with her, but it just points to a trauma. When we're traumatized in a certain way at a certain age, it can cause us to, one, retain that developmental stage because we're waiting for it to be resolved, or we will regress there frequently when we are. One way to look at it, and this is, it's sort of a bit of a psychobabble, but when your life is going fairly, relatively okay, and then you have some major trauma, and from that point forward, say you're traumatized at 15 in a pretty major way, and it could just be a one-time event or a year-long event, and then we're 35 and we're going through something very difficult, there's a psychological defense of regression where I'll go back to 14 because back then was the last time I felt safe, was the last time I felt okay. And so I need to regress to something, to some earlier moment where I felt safer and more secure and people were taking care of me. But I can't go to 15 and 16 because that's when the bad things happen, but I can go to 14.
I didn't mean to have sex with somebody else, but physical touch is so important to me, and I just don't have anybody.
Well, that makes me wonder where her family comes in, her friends. Does she have physical affection from anybody? Attachment security with anyone? Which it sounds like she doesn't. And if she were to talk with me about this prior or even after the infidelity, I'd be like, let's start working on cultivating relationships, non-romantic sexual relationships that provide you with your physical needs, cuddling and hugging and holding hands and being close to someone. and also, just cultivating those relationships so you don't have to cheat in order to attain that.
So I just want my person, and I think he's my person, and I think I'm just gonna have to wait. I don't think that my heart will let me rest if I don't give this last chance.
What we've seen on the show thus far, I think, is a common story. Nothing extreme, nothing pathological, really. What I've seen, though, and some of the emails, some of the comments, is a lot of bullying of her, a lot of judgment of her. And I think, I don't know, I can never know why these things happen, but I think it's because she comes across like someone who is easily bullied. She's a common, she has the identity, the markers of someone who is frequently bullied. You can imagine what those identity markers are, both visually and also personality-wise. And I hope that people can see that and not participate in it, and maybe even push back on it. It's one thing, because the story is that she fell in love with, she's had a hard time with love. A lot of people have a hard time with love, especially someone from a small town like that. I mean, I don't know the population of her area, but there's probably not a lot of fish in the sea out there. You know what I'm saying? She finds someone. She has some immaturity and some nerdiness around Asian culture, Japanese culture. I want to be specific. Everything we saw her that she was into was Japanese culture, which has nothing to do with Chinese culture, or very little to do anyway. And so she, that's what gets the door open. She falls in love with a Chinese guy, and the relationship might have started superficial, like, oh, he's my Asian king, prince, but then the relationship actually develops into something that's real. Okay, it looks real to me, at least, real as typical early stage dating relationship. And she's desperate to see him, and she doesn't have a lot of warmth and attachment needs being met in her life, and she's lonely, and she also has massive insecurities. And she's like, please just come out. I feel like my life can't begin until you come out here and I can cuddle you and hug you and get some affirmation that I'm good enough and I'm a good enough person. I need that. I need that. Of course, we can all understand that. She comes across a little childish at times, but there's not no crime in that. She cheats, which is absolutely wrong. In the one-on-one interview, she takes full responsibility. She apologized to him. Johnny says it hurts, but he's okay with it. Not okay, but he's willing. He understands why she would have done that. I think it's because in other conversations, she has fully explained the whole thing to him. I'm insecure, da-da-da. And he hears that, and, kudos to him for at least understanding where she was coming from. It's his choice whether or not to make it a deal breaker or not. It's not. And she's defeated now. She's like, I have to wait. Not only do I have to wait to see him, but I have to wait another number of months just to find out if he really loves me enough to come out here, because there's a big part of me that wonders if he ever will. Plus, he might meet someone while he's out. So, I get all of her feelings. It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with her, and there's no reason to be bullying her. All right, well, that is it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself, because you deserve it. You really, really do.